everyone, welcome back for our newest MarketMooo. So this is episode 11 of our third season, almost at the end of our third season. Getting closer to the end of the year.
Yeah, will there be another season? Who knows?
Let's see. But for now, let's see, is everything going according to our expectations, things that we've mentioned the last couple of podcasts?
I think so. I think that's the case. And we had a small question mark, of course, because the US government had shut down. Yeah. So there were no reports. And then a lot of reports came since they reopened.
So you've been busy reading all of them?
Yeah, trying to validate and stuff like that, yeah. But so far, yeah, high over because we expected a lot of milk coming. Mm-hmm. We also expected the farmgate payout to be dropping, especially in Europe. Mm-hmm. And that's still the case. So I still have this high over idea that yes, on the short term, more than enough milk, but farmgate milk prices dropping. So at somewhere around Q1, towards the end of Q1.
Things are going to change.
Yeah. Because they're approaching the break-even point for a typical farmer.
Yeah, and was there anything interesting in the reports that you read about the US?
Yeah, some, because well, we've seen growth, a lot of growth in the US, and that's still the case. So they reported August, September, October, and they all were, more than 3% growth. And you could say that's strong, especially month by month. So that's that actually seemed to have happened, and that sort of validates that high over idea. So it sort of confirmed the whole bearishness in the market. But there was also the herd, because a lot of that milk production growth is, of course, because of a stronger yield per cow, but also a bigger herd size. And in that last report on October, they just published it, you saw a month-over-month decline in herd, which is the first decline since a pretty long time. And that's interesting indeed, because, you could expect milk production growth, but would you expect the herd to continue to increase all the way into 2026? We also noted that beef prices were pretty high and looking tasty. So what would be the whole idea of a typical farmer be? And October noted a month over month really low, low decrease, but call it a flat herd.
Okay, interesting. And how is that in Europe? Because meat prices in Europe have been good as well.
Yeah.
Are farmers starting to slaughter the cows, or?
European data is not that frequent as American data on herd and slaughter and herd sizes, etc. So it's a bit more difficult. But if I would be a farmer, then by now I would know that my farmgate payout approaches my break even. Friesland Campina, for example, announced another decrease for December milk prices. Then I also wouldn't want to be the last farmer that brings.
Yeah, you want to take advantage of the high meat prices before everyone does.
If you're the last farmer, then prices already dropped, and that doesn't make that much sense anymore. Yeah. So I would look at that.
Okay, but are we seeing anything like that in the milk production? Because milk production is still very strong within Europe.
Yeah, in all the weekly reports so far, and also the official reports. For example, the Dutch government published their October figure, and that was plus 7.5%, which year over year, which is huge, insane. Yeah. If you would have asked me a year ago, and it's going to grow 7.5% in the Netherlands, mind blowing, ridiculous. Yeah, but that's October. Mm-hmm. November took a hit in farmgate payout. December takes another hit. So, the idea of
potentially in Q1, we might see a change there. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. And then New Zealand?
Yeah. Also interesting because milk price dropped because a lot of the commodities dropped as well. So that makes sense. And the pasture growth index, how good is your grass, looked a little bit below average. And that indicates with a lag of a few months that from that perspective, the grass perspective, milk production has a bit more trouble than last year. But overall, the herd still looks good. And they've imported a lot of PKA, which is something you can use for your cows to feed. And boost the milk solids. Okay. And they've imported huge numbers. So it's a bit of a mixed bag there, where a lot of production indicators are still on green, but you see a dropping milk price
some troubles perhaps
with the pasture and
okay.
sort of a crossroad there as well.
Okay, interesting one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then overall, how's the demand? If we look at skim milk powder, for example?
Yeah, because when you look at the price and the competitivity on price, Europe has been the cheapest, cheaper than the US, cheaper than New Zealand. Their exports were actually pretty good in the latest reports, while the New Zealand report was, I think it was a bit weak, but that makes sense because Europe has been cheaper. So people would look at Europe. And on expectation of demand, because that's what's on the top of my head, Middle East bought a lot and they could see increased demand. But of course, Ramadan is coming soon. It's half February.
Does that mean that there will also be a break for the Middle East to buy? Like, will they buy now and then wait a bit and then buy more? Or how do you usually see
you see a small break because you cannot buy it like a few days before Ramadan starts. So you would want to have yourself covered earlier than that, and then you see a temporary break during Ramadan, more or less, and then you see the old pattern again.
But overall, the demand from the Middle East has been good.
Yeah, also compared to last year, because last year it was weak, so you could assume, for example, low stocks locally, and the price looks really good. So why not buy? Yeah. And the same can be said, by the way, about cheese, because we also see cheese production, for example, in Europe, increasing a little bit. A lot of the milk surplus goes to skimmed and butter, it seems, and cheese production is still increasing, but not as much. And some retailers are saying, we could expect more demand because of these price drops, and it's now getting cheaper again, and that there is some elasticity in there as well. So in that sense, demand can be better than it was a year ago, but it differs per product and per region. I still don't expect that much from China, for example. And I still am not too positive on Mexico, but on Southeast Asia and the Middle East, pretty high over. I'm more positive. And the products that I think about are usually S&P to begin with. It's an important product for us, but also butter. Overall, fat is still
dropping, right?
In price, but the global import demand for butter is still, and AMF and everything involving fat, people still love fat. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. But also when I walk into a Dutch supermarket, you see all these, you see cream with plants added to it. So it's because
from when the fat prices were so high, of course.
Yeah, people started to replace fat, and how long will that continue?
Will they continue doing that, or will they switch back to milk fat?
I hope they do, because it's tastier. But,
fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Yeah, and it should be cheaper by now. So that's the question. Hey, normally you would see some elasticity and demand would be better at these prices, but here and there you see some replacements when prices were still really high, and how long will they stay in these products?
What will the effect actually be of those products?
Yeah, and will people accept those products, because they do taste, different and etc. Yeah. And I'm not a hippie. As you all know.
and on the butter side, on the stocks there within Europe, because we said those have been moving up because there's been more butter production. Demand destruction a little bit. Are we seeing good stocks, or?
We suspect good stocks, because they only report it every quarter. So we still have to wait for an update. And the last update already indicated that the stock build was really strong. The milk production reports and some of the dairy production reports, for example, the German ones, are still indicating that the butter production is really strong. So there's still a little bit of downside left from that perspective in for example, European butter and skimmed, but we've seen prices dropping a lot. So I also suspect that we've seen, the most of it by now, but still with these milk production reports.
Yeah, makes sense that prices could lower a little bit further.
Timing is everything, and it's difficult to catch a falling knife, of course, but.
Yeah, exactly. And if we do a little summary of what we're seeing, so in general, globally, we're seeing really good milk production.
Yep.
Which is putting some pressure on pretty much all the prices except for the whey side.
Yeah, the high protein whey stuff is
still going strong.
Yeah, because and the reason we discussed about it before in other episodes, the production facilities are still somewhat behind the increased demand because you're seeing high protein stuff in everything. It's not just sports nutrition anymore. It's pancakes. It's all over the place, and it's a really high demand. While the production facilities, they take time to build.
Yeah. So that's the one that's still keeping strong. But other than that, the other products have been under pressure price-wise.
Yeah.
But we've seen big drops in milk price. So we're getting closer and closer to that break-even line for farmers.
Exactly.
And like we said, in the US, we've seen slaughter rates increase a bit. We might start seeing that within Europe going forward. So that's definitely something to watch out for, because at some point, if milk prices continue to decrease, at some point farmers will start producing less. Yeah. Which might put a floor in the market for some products. Yeah,
that's what would interest me at the start of next year in the first half. Whether it be towards the end of Q1 or the start of Q2. Where's that farmgate payout going to be? And indeed, what's the response of farmers?
Yeah, exactly. So probably nothing to worry about until after Christmas.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about anything until after Christmas.
There you go. Yeah. Nice way to end this episode.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Well, we hope you're going to be back next month with our last episode of this year, because we'll have another special guest for you. All right. Thank you for watching.